because
this is a new word for me. So I'm going to use it a lot.
It's a great word.
So you started healthy habits through personal experience.
Yes, well, I wanted to start a practice, a nutritional practice, where I can help people with their health goals.
Yeah.
Be it nutrition, lifestyle, prevention, dealing with symptoms that, sometimes the doctors cannot help or they don't want to do the conventional medicine way.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge believer that the right changes in diet and lifestyle can help you.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand with my mom and granddad.
Okay.
So my granddad had diabetes too,
Yeah.
and he actually managed it quite well with diet changes.
Excellent.
And my mom had hyperthyroidism, so her thyroid glands are overactive.
Okay, yeah.
And she also managed it very well with diet changes, and the doctor couldn't believe it. Actually,
Really?
yeah. Under her first follow-up consultation, he was like, "What did you do?"
No
like,
way.
yeah.
That's insane.
So it was kind of like, it was always been around in my family, I think. And recently I've seen it. I've always tried to, from that influence, kind of taking care of myself.
Yeah.
But recently, it's actually with the pregnancy
Yeah.
that I have polycystic ovary syndrome. So I thought it will take a while, just because you don't know if I'm ovulating every month. But it took 6 months.
Surprised.
Yeah, very surprised, which is like the statistical time after your 30s. And and I think this time was more lifestyle changes.
Okay, yeah.
So just a quieter pace of life, reducing stress, drinking less.
Yeah.
And I think that helped massively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So you've always been kind of focused on nutrition. Was that always a goal of yours to do nutrition, like be a nutritionist, or did that come about kind of after your own?
No, actually, it came in COVID.
Oh, really?
More or less.
You're one of those.
One of those.
In COVID.
COVID life crisis. I don't know if we can say that. I'm one of those. So I had a corporate job, and which I did enjoy, especially at the beginning. But COVID changed everything for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm working even more now. What is it for? Do I believe in the companies, what they're doing and selling is it's cool. It's it's a bit different, because I was it was a very niche industry in broadcast.
Okay.
So selling a lot of software and tools for TVs, for broadcast graphics and other things. And I was like, it's a cool technology, but
it's not really
it's not something I'm passionate about. Anyway, but I was always interested, in healthy habits, I guess.
Okay,
there we go, pun intended. And then I was listening to a podcast, and then they said and I started studying nutritional therapy, blah blah blah. I'm like, I could do this. It's almost like a little light bulb.
Fell into place.
And then I studied. I researched schools and stuff, and the more I looked into it, the more excited I got.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of knew it was
Excellent.
The right change
The
for
match
me.
made.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I've missed out on the COVID thing, because all I did was just buy a heap of guitars that I never played.
That. Well, I've also bought roller blades.
Oh, really?
Because I used to do it back home, and I was like, I miss it.
Yeah, they do one in Aberdeen as well, don't they? I'm sure they've got
they have a little, but because there's those the disco ones, which are the old school ones, which I think are skates.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got
I got the inline ones.
Okay.
Those are much
For
easier. Yeah, those are much easier. But
Have you been out on them?
Yeah, it was so cool in lockdown, because I was in London then. To just drive on empty streets in London. To skate. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and probably less potholes.
Yeah. So true.
That's brilliant. So, like you've obviously got the importance of nutrition for particularly people who've got issues that nutrition could help massively for. So, in general terms, like a person who's probably not got any symptoms or anything wrong with them, though, you still say it's like super important for health, getting focused on nutrition.
Yeah, definitely, because even as you said, like people can be absolutely fine or don't feel the need to do something, big changes, but it is a big thing is prevention. I think.
Not waiting until something's
exactly,
wrong.
not waiting until something is gone, because not that I'm gonna say it might be too late then, but it definitely helps if you have a good foundation. No matter what you're gonna deal with after, good foundation increases the chances of you recovering faster and dealing with that. So prevention is one thing, and improving, the quality of life. You can definitely make a change of how you feel, even if it's like small tweaks about improving your immunity, so not getting a cold, sleeping better, being more resilient with stress, and things like that. But again, I do believe, and that's why we're here to talk as well, but I do believe that exercise too, like they go so hand in hand.
Yeah, and that is going to be my next question. A lot of what you're saying as well is the same deal with exercise and training, whether it is just exercise or if it's training, whatever your goals are. But I think, like, if anything is to go wrong, the stronger, the fitter you are before that, the easier it's going to be for you to deal with it. And like same with stress and things as well. If you're fit and healthy, fitness wise, then you're going to be, it's going to be easier to deal with. You're going to be able to deal with it a lot better. I mean, I certainly feel, and I talk to a lot about this as well, like the stronger I am, the easier I find life in general, just because I can deal with it. And the mental stresses that you put yourself through in training as well, I feel kind of passes over into everyday life as well. Do you know what I mean? So like if you, because I think you do get people that just focus on nutrition, and that's fine, and you get people that just focus on fitness, but really together, that's the jackpot, isn't it?
That's where you get your biggest benefit for sure.
So I guess this is a bit of a myth, but answer this for me, right? You can't out-train a bad diet, can you? To some
Such
extent.
a controversial question. So, I mean, the answer is no. I think it's no, but it will depend on the goal. And I think there's a difference between short-term and long-term, and probably exercise as well. Short-term gains, you might train differently for long-term gains. So for long-term, definitely not.
It's going to catch up with you eventually.
It will catch up, because it's not just, obviously, again, it's different when macros in, macros out, fine, but the body's more complicated than that. And you need, just like the good things that come from, I don't know, fruit and veg, and the right protein sources, and like the good fats to keep the sustained level, for longer. It's just like you need your the right nutrients fuel the right exercise. And if you are fueled properly,
then it's going to be a lot better.
It's going to be a lot better performance-wise, and muscle growth. So muscle protein synthesis depends on protein and training, right?
And not just training. Calories.
Exactly. So, and a very popular topic is the gut as well. So if we don't eat well for the gut, we will suffer not just with gut issues, but also with mood issues, sleep issues, brain issues. So it's the body's like, it's just much more complicated, much more layered.
I think more recently with especially going through the level up stuff and really focusing on nutrition rather than just eating everything that I could, I definitely noticed changes in how I feel and mood differences. I think the biggest change for me actually was initially when I come down to maintenance. It was taking out a lot of fat and added sugars. I actually felt that quite a bit. Didn't feel great until I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a massive one for me. But I never realised how much I was actually having, because as long as I got my protein in, and then everything else on top, I was just a bonus. I was just looking for calories to get in, which for me meant actually quite a lot of fast food. Although we meal prep quite a bit, I would add on to that as well and eat everything that I could in between that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it probably didn't help me massively performance-wise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's individual as well. Like, depends again on the goal, and depends if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that plays.
Yeah,
a role
especially
as well.
hormonal-wise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as part of that level up, I had a limitation on caffeine, and I want to get your opinion on this, because we talked about it before briefly. So I limited the amount of caffeine that clients were having. Not massively. I just followed the NHS guidelines, so it was, I think, 300 we capped it at, which is about 3-4 cups of coffee, depending on what you're having, which isn't too bad. And then I also limited the time window that they could have it in, which naturally brought their consumption down anyway. So it was not within the first hour awake and nothing after, I think it was either 2 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, to help with sleep and sleep cycles. And then again in the morning for waking up naturally. But the biggest one for me was the limitations that caffeine puts on the body for absorbing micronutrients. Is that, like, how founded am I in that? Like, how accurate is that?
You are.
A real thing?
Yeah, it is a real thing. It is I mean, you were spot on there. So it can affect sleep. Like, obviously, that's the major. I mean, that's why we like to drink it, because
and even if you're like me, who takes a coffee to bed and then goes to sleep.
Yeah, well, yes and no, because it does take up to 12 hours to be completely removed from the body. However, there is a massive genetic component. So it depends on how your liver processes and how fast it metabolizes. That's how you're sensitive or not so sensitive. For example, I'm quite sensitive, and I have up to 2 coffees a day maximum, and like I feel them. And I feel them, and I could probably go to bed, but like I would have a really bad sleep. My heart rate will be too high. But yes, there are a lot of people like you, my partner included, like he can have before bed and just like don't feel it. But not ideal. And yes, it does affect the absorption of nutrients, of iron, of calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, and some B vitamins as well. So you can, that means you just need to be a bit clever, right? So just don't have caffeine if you're taking supplements, or if you're eating like a nutrient dense meal. Just have it, like have an hour or 2 ideally gap in between. So that's all you need to do.
It's common for people to have coffee with
breakfast
meals as well.
I know. Which is okay. Like, it's not the end of the day. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's like something that you need to balance yourself.
It's not going to completely put a waste that meal.
Just be smarter. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if people do it every day, but like maybe not ideal to do it every day again. But I often, this was before, it actually just reminded me, so I used to, when I was having a big meal, I would deliberately drink coffee after it, and it's because it helped me digest it faster. Yeah, of course it does.
But then also the hindrance is kind of catch-22.
It's probably better to have it after, but depends on the individual. Ideally, you would not have it
with the meal.
Especially if you're taking supplements, and a lot of supplements require food. So,
So I read this thing. This is completely unrelated, and I didn't even think I was going to bring it up at all. But I like Monster. I like energy juices, and I read a study about all the ingredients, all the extra stuff in it is not actually bioavailable. So like, are they put in there so the caffeine levels, because they're massive, don't affect that absorption, or is it just a gimmick?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm so like not into energy drinks.
I just always like the taste because
enough.
I don't get a buzz off the caffeine or anything. Obviously, caffeine should help performance levels.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Not enough
for me,
for
it's
you.
just not enough. No.
Sounds like you need to like lay it off a bit. Like,
I probably could do
a little bit of a detox and then like retrain your body.
I've definitely cut down. We swapped out caffeine for decaf coffee. So I like, even though I still like drinking energy drinks, I'm still not getting in more than the 300 in a day, which means like only 2 cans.
Yeah, okay.
She's still quite a bit of caffeine, but
yeah.
excuse me. But yeah, decaf in the house.
The issue with energy drink is the other additives.
Yeah. Not the caffeine level.
Yeah, obviously it is very high, and again, some people will be quite sensitive and not recommended for them.
Yeah.
But it's the other stuff that it's in there.
The stuff that you don't know about.
Exactly.
Including and the stuff that you know about. But,
yeah.
We've got like nutrients. So normally when I'm giving clients out numbers, nutrition wise, so like all the macro split and everything, we don't tend to focus a whole lot on micronutrients because there's a whole other ballpark, and generally we've got enough to deal with just getting people to eat what they're eating. But the way I understand it is everybody's pretty much deficient in something on different levels. What's the easiest fix for that? Is it just as simple as having a balanced diet, getting all the veggies in?
So again, it's a complicated answer. No, it's not complicated. It is very individualistic.
Okay.
Because yes, ideally, everybody should have like the more varied diet you have, veg, fruit, but also like whole grains and nuts and seeds and different types of protein sources. Also oily fish. All these things, like if you're very careful in like an ideal scenario, you probably won't be deficient.
Okay, yeah.
However, we do have a lot of like vitamin D is one like vitamin, and everybody knows. I was like, of course you're gonna say vitamin D, but it's true.
Yeah.
Because the body obviously makes it from sun. Yeah. And it will depend on your skin color as well, on your pigmentation. On where you live, how high up you are, the altitude, everything will depend on that. If you're wearing SPF, so there's so many factors to kind of probably influence that you're not making enough vitamin D. The food sources are very little. Yeah. So that's why it's like recommended that you do supplement. Yeah. Another layer is the genetics as well. Yeah. So a lot of people, like for example, I have some genetics, some mutations in my genes. Sounds a bit, but yeah, it's true that I need more vitamin D, for example. And another thing is the absorption. So if you have gut issues, you might not absorb it well as well. If you have it from dietary sources, vitamin D is a bit different, I guess. But like, there's a lot of things at play that say, okay, you probably should supplement with vitamin D. There is a statistic that something like half of the population is probably deficient in the UK, which is quite a lot. Yeah. And it's actually a very easy way and not so expensive to test yourself. So you can buy it. You can buy it online. You can buy it, I think, even in Boots. Yeah. It's like around £30. Okay. And you can test your level. Yeah. And sometimes that can also with like your research or help with the professional, like you can see like which dose to take. Okay, because if you're deficient, maybe a higher dose at the beginning will be more beneficial. Yeah, and then you get exactly a maintenance dose. So, and it's so like vitamin D is a really, really important one. Yeah. It's just like, a lot of cells need it in the body. So that's like one. And another thing is depending on your diet. So if you're like veggie or vegan, if you are also a bit older, a bit older, or like me pregnant breastfeeding, you might have increased needs for certain nutrients. So that's when you also need to be careful to make sure that if you don't have the food sources, are you supplementing, or how you like what you're doing about it, because the body needs them.
So the supplements, absolutely, so the supplements, because you can buy supplements really cheap out at supermarkets and things. What I'm curious about the potency of them, because there's different measurements in whatever brands. Some are stronger than others, and like how bioavailable are they as well? Because I've heard that getting floated about as well. That like it's not actually as much as you think in them. I heard that actually particularly about the fish oil as well. It's not actually as much as you think in them. So like, what are you looking for in supplements? Like, is there a certain brand or a certain measurement where you're guaranteed to get something out of it?
So you can you can do a bit of research, and it's like there's so much also good stuff on the internet. Don't just like look for your reels or TikToks. Just like do a Google and like have a look.
Don't trust influencers.
Yeah, exactly. Just have a little Google, and like you can find so much just by Googling, for example, the most bioavailable form of a certain supplement, because that's one thing. So is it a synthetic one, or is it a more organic component, bioavailable one, natural? So like for some people, like take folic acid. Folic acid is not a good form of folate. You need methylfolate. So that's much more, because the body recognizes that. But folic acid is cheaper.
Yeah, and that's the one all the doctors give out.
Exactly. Well, and also like magnesium. Oxide is the one that is cheaper, and but actually it's not as good as citrate or glycinate. And all this, like, they're different, so you can definitely like do your like little research. And unfortunately, because the synthetic ones are cheaper, obviously the actual supplement will be cheaper. And then you have again additives in some supplements that you definitely don't need to be there. And that might obviously will affect absorption, the efficiency, efficacy, all of it. And next thing is how you're taking it. So some would need to be, eat with food or like fat absorbed. Some vitamins, and some will need vitamin C, for example, like the iron. And that will affect, again, if you have gut issues, like if you're taking supplements but nothing might not be absorbed. And the deficiency level. So I feel like the body is smart enough to be like, okay, I need this, and it will take it from the forms it needs it. But like if you don't need it, you might not. I don't like. It depends. It's like, again, it's very individualistic. Gold standard, or like the waist weighs, like if you can test yourself, amazing. And then find the best, like the most natural form, as I can say, like most bioavailable form of a supplement. And if you can buy it, buy it. And sometimes you might need just like a month dose, or like a 2-month dose, and then you may maintain it.
Doesn't have to be a forever thing.
It doesn't have to be. And there's a lot at play here, as well as that. So that's unfortunately that I think the sort of higher quality ones will be more expensive.
I think that's what throws a lot of people as well, because they will just go for the cheapest one, and because they're so available in all the supermarkets as well. That's going to be a lot of people's go-to, rather than looking a bit deeper. But then that cost difference is going to be how much benefit you're actually getting out of it as well.
And it's not that you might still get some benefit.
Just
maybe
not as good.
It's not as good.
You mentioned magnesium before, so I've seen a thing about magnesium recently, and it was aiming at I guess more at the gym bros type thing, and its claim was like increased muscle size and strength. Like, is there truth in that? Is there much truth in that? Is it, yeah?
Yeah, it helps. Build muscle through muscle protein synthesis, and helps with actually repair as well. So magnesium is a really like needed micronutrient because it affects a lot of processes in the body.
Right.
Some say 300, but it doesn't matter how many. It's just like plenty.
Yeah, enough.
Plenty. So it does play a crucial role in muscle health.
Yeah.
But also it's needed overall for energy production.
Okay.
So all our cells, one of their main jobs is to produce energy.
Yeah.
And it's a very important, it's called cofactor in the production of energy.
Yeah.
So that's like, it will help exercise and muscle.
It's quite an important one.
Yeah.
So like that was about supplementing it. Is it something that you could naturally get enough through diet, or is it more likely?
Kind of if I can say the general rule, but like, yeah, we do tend to say that you probably should supplement it.
Yeah. Because
the sources are like leafy greens, nuts and seeds, and dark chocolate, one of my favorite, and probably not that. I mean, again, it's how your body absorbs it.
You actually being able to eat enough.
It's like it's not that high. Not that you won't get it. You will get it, but are you getting it in enough dosage? And it's really. Yeah, the body really needs it, and a lot of people have seen benefits of supplementing with the right form as well.
Oh, I'm definitely going to buy some. Yeah, I went to doctors last year, and I think I was feeling really faint for a couple of days, which like is not. I've never been a passy-outy lifter or anything like that. Don't really tend to feel faint a whole lot ever. But this was like constantly. It was every time I stood up, I was really lethargic. Something just wasn't right, and it was for like 2 or 3 days. So I went to doctors. They did blood tests. They checked my heart and everything. Heart rate, heart was fine. Bloods came back with low platelets. She told me, and she'd only asked like if I had trouble stopping bleeding. Like that was a normal thing that I come across on a daily, but. Like I hadn't noticed anything, not that I cut myself that regularly, but even like scrapes and stuff in the gym, it was, it's never been a problem stopping bleeding, so that was like all I had to go on. And the only questions that they asked me, they were adamant that I was either taking drugs, I'm assuming she meant steroids, or drinking heavily, and I don't do either of them, so I'm like, okay, so what else is it? Like, is it a deficiency in something? Is it something that I can change through diet, surely? And like, no, just come back and get tested. I'm like, it doesn't sound right, because I don't do either of those things. I'm pretty fit, my heart rate and everything was all fine, blood pressure was fine, and yet I was feeling dizzy and faint, and all they could tell me was I was low on platelets. Now I did do the Google Doctor thing, and the only thing I could come up with was iron, and so supplemented the strongest iron I could find for a couple of weeks. When I went back and got tested, they said it was higher. It was still a little bit below where they wanted, but that was it, and I never went back again. But they never took into account my lifestyle, never took my weight, anything like that. I never asked what I did for a living or anything, so it was a bit, I think it's unfair, because they're just judging me on norms. But do you reckon it was the iron that, like, is that a thing with low platelets? Would that cause?
Yeah, it can be low iron. Did you feel better? I mean, did the dizziness
the
stop?
dizziness went away. Yeah,
So definitely, like, it's a common symptom of low iron dizziness. I mean, low platelets. It's like you might have been like sick or coming out of a virus or something, or an infection. You might
it's just been a coincidental thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's also, obviously you got retested, which was good, but sometimes I know it sounds a bit silly, but with blood draws, it's like a really like in the moment situation.
Okay, yeah.
So like it
Just
might
potluck kind
yeah,
of thing,
it can be that. It's, I mean, obviously it's like, I guess, more on the rare side, but like it can be that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's good to have several tests, like if you want to really see something more concrete, accurate. And it can be iron, low iron. It can be folate as well.
Okay.
And it's something, it's kind of a weird one, I guess, but like it's probably just that you were
deficiency in
something happened, maybe
normal.
like you were, maybe the body was fighting with something, and then just like but if you felt better,
it was always a weird one for me. Like they were adamant it could only be one or two things. And like, it's just so silly.
Those are very common, like alcohol and drugs. I
totally get that. And probably like, I mean, I'm slimmer now, but walking in the way I did, it was probably, that's just what they assumed. Which again, I thought it was unfair, but.
They rarely, I guess, have time as well to go into the details of like what's happening in your life to understand it better.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm fixed now.
As long as you don't, you feel better.
I have enough. I mean, I'm not been supplementing recently, but I have enough red meat and stuff in my diet anyway. That's kind of go-to. Like, I love steak, mince, burritos, all that stuff. So I'm getting enough of that in, I believe. So let's go on to
without
protein.
an energy drink.
Without an energy drink, I mean, I don't need it. I just like the taste of it. And because I'm not having anything else, I'm having no sugar, I'm having no cake, nothing like all the meals are planned.
You have to have something.
I get that.
It can't be taken. It's low sugar. That's an improvement for me.
Low sugar.
It's so that it says on the tin. Anyway.
Yeah, but what type of sweetener does it have?
Exactly. Ignoring that doesn't count. Protein, so there's loads of stuff on the internet about protein, ideal protein intake. For me, my protein intake's super high, more so that I'm in a deficit, but I'll come on to that. But like, is there an ideal number where anything more than that's just a waste?
No, I don't know. I mean, it's been, again, it depends on the individual, depends on the goal, and it's been kind of back and forth. Is like, how much the body can absorb at a time, or how much can you be metabolized at a time. And now they're saying, but there is no threshold. But like, how much will you actually be able to eat as well physically? Because it's very satiating, right? And so like, I would say that the daily recommendation probably is too low for most people. And again, depends on your goal and depends on the sex and where you are in your stage life. In the age, in what, how, like, are you menopausal? Are you perimenopausal, for example, for women? Very important. As you get older, you need it more as well. How much you train, right? So if you want to support this, the muscle protein synthesis, you want to muscle health, you probably would need more. And but it depends on the source as well that you get it from, and like, how much is, again, bioavailable. We love that word. Because
it's a new word for me. So I'm going to use it a lot.
It's a great word. And so there's a lot of factors, I guess, when you think about it. So you would best, you can work with somebody or judge for yourself. Like how, like what can you eat? Like how can you, like, if you want to do like, I don't know, 1.6 grams per kilogram, for example, which is like a bit higher threshold. How much that will be throughout your day and how much can you separate it in meals. Right. So if you what did I want to say? Sorry. Again, depends on the individual, depends on the goal, and you always do it for your ideal weight. Right. So
not the weight that you're at.
Exactly. Not the weight that you're at, but you for ideal weight. That's not, but I think the recommendation is 0.8 grams per kilogram.
It's super low.
Super low. It is low. Like,
especially
at least you can move it to 1, 1.2.
Round it up.
It's just like, at least, but especially if you train, and especially if you're getting into, for women, like into perimenopause, like it just needs it more. And it's a great macronutrient to balance the meal.
Yeah.
Right? So like we want a plate where we have from everything a bit or more of whatever, but it's a really good, like when it's on the plate, it really balances the whole meal and how your body responds to it, like, and just like makes you fuller for longer, which you want to do.
Yes, so less prone to snack. And
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if that answered the question.
yeah, kind of. I'm still curious about, like, so when you've got those measurements, and that's fine as a standalone. Then when you have like a set calorie goal and you split the macros, but sometimes you want to, so if you're looking at percentage wise, say if you're on like 35-40% protein split, that's going to be quite a bit more than 1.7, or you're looking at like 2 sometimes and above. Certainly for myself, I know I've went way above that. Just for the purpose of keeping the carbs and fats a bit lower, even if it's for a short period of time. But that extra, and it can be quite difficult to eat that amount of protein. It is quite difficult to, and that kind of feeds into that as well. It's harder to eat, so you're likely not going to overeat.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to overeat, but also when it becomes harder to eat, I know it might sound too simplistic, but like it is the body telling you that's enough.
Yeah, well there's this thing like when you're hungry, if you can picture yourself eating chocolate, or if you can picture yourself eating chicken. If you can't picture eating chicken, you're not really hungry.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good, I would use that. I like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, are you craving, like, are you hungry for real, right? Exactly, that's so true. But it is, like, the best is to listen to the body. And I know it's very hard, and it's like, oh yeah, but I want chocolate. That's what my body tells you. Fine, you might actually need chocolate at the moment, which is absolutely great. Like, it will benefit you, like it will do you good. You know, sometimes we do say, okay, that's bad for you. Well, it's not good or bad. It's just like, are you going to enjoy it? Are you going to get some, there is an emotional benefit from it, you know, like we shouldn't like restrict ourselves so much that we're miserable. Like that's not the point at all.
That's one of the things I've done in this level up, is I actually never told anyone not to eat like added sugar or like chocolate or cake or anything like that. In fact, I encouraged it. Like I was like, if you, especially for office people who's got like birthdays every week, if there's cake or there's pizza in the office, have a bit. Like, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Just don't sneak away with the whole cake.
Just don't have it all the time. Yeah, and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Like that was bad. And like, was it really though? Do you know what I mean? Like if that was all you're consuming, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's not. Yeah, and I think as long as everything else is balanced and it's not like that's not your kind of your main meals is cake.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of all in proportion.
Yeah, but I mean, to the ideal thing is like now, there's a lot of out there that says research that, I mean, then people like that know what they're talking about, saying that between 30 and 50 grams per meal, it's a good kind of ratio, and this like let's say 1.6 till 2 grams, like on this higher threshold if you're training as well, or you're in a different stage of your life. That's a good one, I think, and a really important one I feel like is having like a protein rich breakfast. So to set your day really in a really good way is trying to get this good protein with your breakfast.
I feel that helps with me massively, and the clients as well, is if you can get decent numbers in the beginning of the day, it sets you up better for the rest of the day, because you don't feel like you're trying to cram everything in by the end of the day, and if things get busy, you're not rushing to find or miss out on that, do you know what I mean? Try to cram it all in your meal at night or snacking in the evening or things. Plus, it's going to keep you fuller for longer, do you know what I mean, throughout the day, and if you can't try and mix that with like, it's going to be slower release anyway, and so you're going to feel fuller for longer, rather than grabbing like I don't know, a sugary snack bar or something like that.
Muffin. Which is, again, if you want to do it once in a while, absolutely fine. But no, I'm kidding. Like and people should, I feel like they should experiment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, see it for yourself, try it for
Yeah.
yourself. Like allow yourself, I don't know, let's like a week or 2 weeks that I'm gonna have, you know, eggs for breakfast, or I'm gonna have like good amount of protein, whatever that looks for you, and see how you feel. Just see how you feel.
Yeah, everybody's going to be different on what foods they select for that as well. So I mean, we've got a client that prefers quite dry meals, and is quite happy to eat that. Whereas I would choke. I wouldn't be able to. I want all the sauces and flavors and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember where I was going with that. I completely lost track. Let's talk about creatine for a minute, because I'm interested. Particularly, I think that creatine is, from what I've seen, is more like a male supplement. It's targeted more at males, whereas I think females get quite a benefit of it, and benefits that males won't get as well. Is that something you like? Would you recommend creatine to females?
Yeah. It's been, and it's out there now. It's so popular, but for a reason, because there's more and more research saying that how safe it is to use for one, and like how really like it's just benefits. Like it's one thing after another, and of course for the biggest advantage will be for those who train. And it's obviously a lot for resistant training, great. Also, but also for endurance. So if you do other types of exercises, more cardio based, it's also great for that. And because it supports energy production. And then we have additional benefits on top of that, which is to do with a lot with the brain. So it can support the energy production in the brain, and can protect also the brain functions. So as women, unfortunately, we are 50% more likely to get neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. This can, another thing that can help prevent that is taking creatine, but also actually exercising as well. Very good for prevention. There's a lot of research now that says that it's really good for you. You should take it around between, I think 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day. You do need to drink a lot of water with it.
Especially when you first start taking, if you're not used to it, get quite dehydrated.
So because it does retain water in the muscles. Some might get more bulky, but it's apparently, like they say that up to this 5 grams a day, you're kind of in the safe bracket, but it will be individualistic.
And it depends if people do like a loading phase or just more slowly build into it as well.
That's another big factor. But they can take it, like doing something consistently will benefit more overall. But
creatine's a favorite one of mine. A lot of it's a difficult one to say, because it's, unless you're super in tune with your body, you can't really feel any massive difference. It's not like taking a pre-workout and then you get shaky. You know, there's not really any there's no side effects from it. Really, apart from maybe the water retention and being a bit dehydrated. But if you're drinking what you should be drinking anyway, then you're going to be fine. And then once you've been taking it for a while, you're used to it. Did have a couple of weird situations where it was, so I take it in powder and just put it in water, 250 ml, that's an easy drink, it's gone in seconds. But you do get it in capsule form as well. But what I found with a couple of people that have taken the capsules, because it's easier for them to consume, I guess, but the capsules actually cause digestive issues as well, stomach issues, and it's like they feel really bad on it. And it's like that's the only thing I could put it down to was whatever the capsule's made up of. Just tilt and scrub that and just go powder. Because you get flavourless as well, so you can put it in. You can put it in your protein shakes. You don't even notice it. You can put it into anything really.
It's actually doesn't. I don't think it matters that much. Is if it's pre or post as well.
Yeah.
So like.
I think I normally try and keep it like the same time every day.
That's because as long as you're consistent with it and you're taking it every day, and something when it's like that, that research and study, like you can at least be.
Yeah, I mean,
not
so
worried,
many studies
like,
on it. Yeah, it's like, is it not like the most researched
something,
supplement?
Something like that. It comes up like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like nothing in it as well, which I think is why it's so cheap that you can't really mess it up.
Yeah.
I do. So with supplements, I've been told before, like, check that it's got the UK badge on it. It's been tested, like third party testing, and been inside the UK. Is that a problem with like internet buys?
It can be. Like the UK actually has a quite good standards.
Yeah.
Yet still, I can say. Hopefully Brexit won't change that. But it does go through a lot of more thorough checks than, let's say, America.
Okay. Yeah.
So and supplements. Don't quote me on this, but I don't think they don't necessarily need to be FDA approved to be sold.
Right. Yeah.
Because they come under the different category.
Yeah. They're not
because
drugs.
they don't claim exactly to treat something. As long as I think that's like a loophole there.
Yeah.
But a lot of supplements, they do have to, especially if they have some sort of a statement. Again, it's not a treatment. It's just a statement that it can help reduce, it can improve sleep, whatever.
Yeah.
They have to go through a lot of checks in the UK.
Okay. Yeah.
And they do have a higher standard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so make sure you look for the UK badge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Just to be safe.
I mean, I know that there is. That's why you can buy American things that are
really
you can't
cheap.
buy here
as
well, and in higher doses.
Yeah.
That's another
So
thing.
just not as checked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not as safe for sure.
Yeah. So I actually don't worry if you're not prepared for this one, because it's just one that personally I recommend to a few people. Ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I get in a gummy form.
Okay.
And it's actually just like eating sweets.
Yeah.
Quite dangerous. But they're like.
Don't do this, kids at home.
They're kept on a very high shelf. They're, I think they're 600 milligram in one gummy, and it can recommend up to 2.
Yeah.
Although I've heard that like after so much, it's pointless anyway. It'll just you'll just pee out.
Yeah.
Basically. But that it was when I was a bit heavier and I was having troubles. I thought it was sleep apnea. The process to get done anything through the NHS for sleep apnea is ridiculous. I phoned them up and they were like, "Yeah, it's 2-year waiting list." I'm like, "I'll be dead by then." So I was looking at like CBD oil and ashwagandha.
Yeah.
I used both. Ashwagandha was amazing. Like I sleep really well on it. So recommend it to a few people. Also, discovered, although I can't get anybody to really corroborate on it, it's just Google Doctor again, the ashwagandha helping with ADHD people as well. Is that something that you come across?
I'm not sure that I've read exactly about ADHD. It might help because it has a calming effect on the body. But again, I haven't looked into the research on that one. However, yes,
just generally for sleep.
Sleep is great. Also, it's actually, well, some call it the vitality tonic, but if you take it in the morning rather than night, it has a good benefit on like immunity as well, and it helps a lot of. It's recommended for women, especially when we start going to perimenopause, because our stress response gets a bit like, I don't know what's happening, because estrogen is up and down. Yeah. So that can help just calming down a bit. Yeah. Wow. So it's a good one. I would. I have taken it. I'm not taking it now. Yeah. But I have taken it previously as well. It can.
Good. Yeah. And did you feel the benefits from it?
Yes, I felt actually more the benefits. I started taking it during the day.
Okay.
Than for nighttime.
Wow. So could you theoretically split it then if you were to take it? Could you take it morning and night?
You can, as long as like you're within the dose. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, it's about this a bit of experimenting with yourself. It's just seeing how, for some people it might be too much.
Yeah.
You know, just like.
I might try that.
Yeah, just like it's you know, they don't like they get too not too down, but like just like a bit. Yeah.
A bit too chill.
A bit too chilled. Yeah, exactly.
Walking a bit horizontal.
Yeah, but no, I do think it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.